Hello folks, my name is Vinod Kumar and welcome to our YouTube channel. So guys, today in this video, let's discuss a very important topic which is the data science roadmap. So currently the data science and AI field are in trending and many people don't know how to start their career in this field. So in this video, I'll break down all the things and we'll discuss what are the topics you need to learn in the data science field and kickstart your guys. This is the complete roadmap which I have created personally. I have separated everything into a separate milestones. So let's start with the programming language, the first milestone. So in the programming language, you have two options. Either you can start with the Python or you can go with the R programming. So I prefer for beginners who are entering into the data science or data analyst field, they start with the Python because in Python you have libraries and framework which I have already created. So you can just import them and do some specific tasks. So in the first milestone, you have Python fundamentals. In this, you have core concepts. So the core concepts in that we have variables, operators which are arithmetic, logical, and bitwise, and the data types, and also the typecasting. So these are the basic concepts you should learn in the Python. And next we have something called as data structures. So in this data structures we have list, dictionaries, tuples, and sets, and also we have something called as comprehensions. So comprehension is nothing but we write these data structures into a concise form. And next we have something called as advanced loops and flow control. So in this you have nested loops, for loop and while loops, break, continue, and else statements, which is nothing but if else, elif, for loop, while loop, all those things which comes under this loop and flow control. And next you have functions. So in these functions you need to learn about writing the basic functions, and also you have the types of function which is a lambda, map, filter, and also you have something called as decorators which should comes under these functions. So then you have another topic which is a exception handling. So it's very important for who are learning Python to handle the errors. So for in this exception handling, we have something called as try except blocks, and also we have raising exceptions and custom exception classes, writing custom code to handle the exceptions. And next we have something called as file handling, which is a file operations, reading, creating, reading, writing, all those operations which come under this file handling. And next we have a very important topic which is hoops. So in these hoops we have something called as classes, objects, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, all those things. Next something you have something called as data analysis and manipulations. So in this we have the first library which is NumPy. So in this NumPy we learn topics called as array creations, indexing, slicing, broadcasting, vectorized operations. So all these topics which comes under the NumPy, which is basically operations with the data. And also we have something called as pandas. Pandas is also a library which is in a Python. We use for this creating the data frames, creating the series, filtering or selecting the data frame merging, aggregations, grouping, reshaping, which is operations, and working with the dates. If you have something called as dates in your column, you need to handle that. And also you have something called as multi-indexing. So these things comes under this Python. And also we have data cleaning techniques in the data instant manipulation. So in this we have something called as missing data handling. So it's very important to a data scientist or a data analyst should handle this missing data. Without that, a model give wrong predictions. And we have something called as outlier detection here. So when you have outliers in your data, the model cannot capture the real relationships. And another we have called as data imputation. If you have something data missing in your data, you can use imputation techniques to impute the data into those missing values. And you have some data transformation as well. So in this we have something called as scaling and normalization. So these are techniques which are used in data transformation. So then we have EDA. So in this video we have EDA, we have correlation heat maps, pair plots, skewness and kurtosis, and feature engineering, which is a log transformers and binning. So these techniques which comes under this feature engineering. And also we have some other topics which will be covered in machine learning. So these are the things which comes under this data analysis and manipulation. Let's go with the third milestone. So in the third milestone we have matplotlib and seaborn. So these are also libraries which are used in Python. You have the different plot types, which is line plot, bar plot, scatter plot, histogram, pie plot, box plot, all these things. So these customization you can use, these components you can use to plot the graphs as you want. And you have something called as advanced visualization here. So here you can, the topics you need to learn 3D plots, plotting the graph, or I mean plotting the graphs in 3D format. And you have heat maps, bubble charts, area plots, and geographical maps as well. This should comes under advanced visualization. And next we have interactive visualization. So in this we have Plotly, which is scatter 3D and counter plots. So we use this Plotly for mainly for plotting the graph in 3D format. And you have something called as Dash or Streamlit for interactive dashboards. So these are things in data visualization. So when it comes to the database, you have something called as SQL and NoSQL. Basically, the data type database is two different types, which is a sequential and non-sequential. So in this sequential query language, we have something called as MySQL. So in this MySQL, we need to learn the basic SQL syntax to write the basic SQL commands. And also, you have something called as CRUD operations, which is create, alter, all those things, which comes under this CRUD operations. And also, you have something called as very important topic, joins. The different types of joins will be a right join, left join, inner join, full join, all those things. And also we have indexing. So this comes under the MySQL. In the advance of SQL concepts, you have the window functions, CTEs, nested queries, query optimization, and data integrity constraints. And in the database design and normalization, you have something called as entity relationship modeling, normal forms, which is 1F, 2F, 3F, and the referential integrity and schema design. Basically, you use this for creating the designs of the database. So next you have something called as SQLite. So SQLite is also a SQL database, which is a lighter version of MySQL. So when you are working with a small data set, you can use this SQLite. And the next type is NoSQL database. So in this NoSQL database, we have the first one is MongoDB. So in this MongoDB, you have to learn something called as data modeling, the same CRUD operations, indexing, aggregation pipelines, sharding, and replications. And you have another NoSQL database, which is Cassandra. This is an optional database. Everyone will go with this MongoDB, and you can also learn this Cassandra as an option. And the next milestone, we have something called as statistics and probability. So in this we have five different topics. So in this descriptive stats, we have something called as measure of central tendency, variability, skewness, kurtosis, which comes under the descriptive statistics. And we have something called as probability fundamentals. In this we have rules of probability, conditional probability, Bayes theorem, independent versus dependent events. And in probability distributions, you have something called as discrete distributions, which is a binomial and Poisson. And another thing, we have continuous distribution, normal, exponential, and uniform distributions. So these comes under probability distribution. And we have another important topic, hypothesis testing. So in this hypothesis testing, we have the t-test. In this t-test, we have one sample, two sample, paired, all those things. And we have something another hypothesis testing, which is chi-square test, ANOVA test, non-parametric test, man witnessing. So these are the things which comes under this hypothesis testing. And in the statistical inference, we have confidential intervals, z-test, p-values, power analysis, resampling techniques, which is also called as bootstrapping. Sorry. So these are statistical concepts you need to learn. So it's not very important to go everything in very depth. You can just have a overview of all those things, how it works. So next we have something called as mathematics for data science. So in this you have two topics, linear algebra and calculus. So in this linear algebra, you have to learn matrix operations, dot products, cross products, eigenvalues or eigenvectors, matrix decomposition, which is a PCA and SVD, which comes under this linear algebra. And in calculus, we have something called as differentiation, integration, partial derivatives, gradients, chain rule. So these mathematical things also you should not go with very in depth. You can have an overview of all those things are working. And next, go with the very important milestone, machine learning fundamentals. So in this machine learning fundamentals, we will start with the data pre-processing. So in this data pre-processing, we have something called as scaling or normalization, and we have something called as one-hot encoding, and also we have other types, label encoding and target encoding, and handling the imbalanced data, feature scaling, which is standardization and normalization, same thing. This is also scaling, both are same. And in the supervised machine learning algorithms, we have regression and classification, which are the two types of supervised learning. So in this regression, we have linear regression, ridge regression, lasso regression, polynomial, decision tree regression. So basically, ridge and lasso are optimization techniques, which will come under here. You can see here regression techniques. So you can use those for regressions as well. And in classification, we have logistic regression, neo Bayes, SVM, decision trees. These are the algorithms which are used in classification. And the next type which we have unsupervised learning. So in this unsupervised learning, we have two different types: clustering and dimensionality reduction. In clustering, we have k-means, db scan, hierarchical clustering, so which will come under this clustering algorithms. And next, dimensionality reduction algorithms, which is PCA, TSNE, factor analysis. These are the dimensionality reductions. And next, we have something called as model evaluation and selection. You have something called as confusion matrix, ROC-AUC, precision recall, cross validation. You have something called as accuracy. All those things will come under this. Basically, evaluating the machine learning models, how they are performing. And optimization. So in this optimization, we have something called as gradient descent, stochastic gradient descent, which is also a type of gradient descent. This stochastic gradient descent is. And the learning rates, regularization techniques, L1 and L2, which is a ridge and lasso, which comes under this machine learning fundamentals, which are basic one. So in advanced machine learning, we need to learn ensemble techniques and hyperparameter tuning. So in this ensemble techniques topic, we have the bagging, which is a random forest, boosting, ADA boost, gradient boosting, XG boost, cat boost, all those things. And also we have another ensemble technique called as stacking. So this comes under this ensemble techniques. And also you have something called as hyperparameter tuning. So because when the model is not performing very well, so we use some technique called as hyperparameter tuning, where we used to tune some parameters, changing the parameters, so that will give you a better model result. So in this hyperparameter tuning, we have grid search, random search, and Bayesian optimization. We use these techniques for hyperparameter tuning. Okay, and in next milestone is model deployment and versioning. So in this we have deployment basics. We have something called as REST APIs with Flask or Fast APIs, and also we need to know about batch versus real-time processing. And next we have something called as containerization. So in this containerization, we have Docker. You need to learn about Docker, Docker basics, creating the Docker images, Docker compose, handling the Docker things, all those things. So next we have something called as monitoring and maintenance. So when you deploy the model, a machine learning model, you need to monitor and maintain the model versions. So for that you have something called as model monitoring, retraining the pipelines, and you have something called as drift detection, performance logging, called as Perthesis and Grafana. You use this for performance logging. So these are comes under this model deployment and monitoring. And in MLOps is nothing but machine learning operations. So in the MLOps, the first topic is model lifecycle management. In this we have something called experiment tracking, model versioning, reproductivity, and metadata management. These are the life cycle of MLOps model. And then we have something called as data versioning and pipeline automation. So in this we have okay tools tools for data versioning, which is DVC, and pipeline orchestration, which is airflow, and continuous data ingestion. Whenever new data comes in, you need to ingest that continuously. And then the third topic is CI/CD for machine learning. So in this CI/CD, we have something called as we need to learn about automating the model training and deployment. And also we have to learn the GitOps for model code management. And in the model deployment, we have to learn the serve model as a API, which you can use either fast API or Flask. And also same, you need to learn about batch or real-time inference and Kubernetes. Kubernetes is also very important for model deployment. And in the core tools, you have something called as MLflow and Kubeflow. So you don't need to learn model deployment and monitoring and also MLOps. So if you are planning to enter into MLOps, so you there you need to learn all these things. If not, you can skip this topic, or you can have a basic overview of how all the things are going. So next, deep learning and neural networks. So in this we have something called as you need to learn these topics as a core concepts, which is a perceptrons, how perceptron will work. And next we have something called as activation functions, which is a ReLU, sigmoid, and softmax. And backpropagation. So backpropagation is a very important topic in the neural network. You need to learn how the backpropagation will work. And in the optimization algorithms, you have something called as ADAM and RMS props. You can learn these things in the core concepts, which is a very important whenever you start with the neural network. And next you have something called as libraries for deep learning. So in this you have TensorFlow or Keras. You can choose any one of this. And next you have something called as PyTorch. So either you can learn TensorFlow or Keras or PyTorch. So basically we use this for creating and training the models, and also for hyperparameter tuning. And next topic is we have convolutional neural networks, CNNs. So in this CNNs we have something called as convolutions and pooling layers, and we have some other layers as well. You need to learn about the components of CNN layers. So we have, which are already defined architectures, which are LetNet, LXNet, ResNet, and DenseNet. So you can use these architectures and train model. And in the transfer learning and pre-trained models, you have something called as fine tuning transfer learning techniques. So transfer learning is also a very important topic in your learning in deep learning and neural networks. And also you have to learn about applications of pre-trained models, which is VGG16, ResNet, and other model architectures as well. So these are things you need to learn in deep learning and neural networks. And in a natural language processing, whenever you start with the NLP, you need to know about how to handle the data, how to handle the text. So in this text processing, we have different techniques called as tokenization, stemming, lemmatization, stop word removal, POS tagging. All these techniques are used for text pre-processing. And second topic is vectorization techniques. Vectorization techniques, what is vectorization means? Converting the text into a vectors. So for that we have some techniques called as bag of words, TF-IDF, word embeddings, which are word to vec, glow, fast text, and the transformers, which is a BERT and GPT. So then you have something called as RNNs. You need to know how these RNNs will work. You need to learn about RNN layers. And next, which is called as LSTM, GRU, attention mechanism, sequence to sequence models. You need to learn how these models are working and what are the problems with these RNNs. The next topic we have NLP core tasks. So in this we have something called as text classification, named entity recognition, sentiment analysis, topic modeling. So these are something kind of projects you can work on to get the basic idea of how these NLP models are working. So in the advanced NLP topic, we have sequence to sequence models, attention mechanisms, transformers. So transformers are very important topic whether you are planning to enter into LLMs. So it's very important to learn transformers. Also you have to learn transfer learning with NLP models like BERT, GPT, and other models. So these are the things you need to cover in the NLP. So next topic is generative AI. So generative AI is a very vast topic. If you want the roadmap for this generative AI, please comment below on in this video. I'll create a very detailed roadmap for generative AI. So guys, this is the complete data science roadmap. And if I have missed anything in this roadmap, just comment below. And also, if you want generative AI roadmap, just comment below generative AI. I'll create a roadmap on that. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel.